In a time when the two eldest sisters, Sable and Label, were young teenagers, and Mabel just a small child, the Able sisters lost both of their parents. Sable, being the oldest, was left in charge of the family. Label, distraught by what her life had become, stormed out following an argument with her older sister, leaving Sable to raise Mabel alone. In Sable's own words in Animal Crossing City Folk, she tells the story of these photos. Of course that's not me. That's my late mother. I'm the young girl there, and the smaller girl beside me is Mabel. The two of us are 10 years apart. Both mother and father died when Mabel was just a little girl. But since she was so small, she doesn't remember a thing, the poor dear. The only memory she has of our parents is this photo. I never thought I'd be able to take the place of our parents for her. So I just did what I had to and tried to look after her as best as I could. Somehow, thankfully, she grew up to be that bright bit of sunshine we all love. Her only fault is that she can be a bit too tomboyish. During all this time, neither sister had ever found where Label had gone, and through it all, Sable only had one friend to turn to. It's very fitting that this is being told in the winter, as Sable typically will recall the story in the winter when you talk to her. In Sable's very own words, I'd like to tell you the story of her best friend. Well, the first letter I got from him arrived around this time of year. The other day before bed, I pulled that letter out and just looked at it. It was adorable. Sure, the handwriting was a little messy, but you could hear his determination in every word of that letter. Sweet young Tom Nook. His call to arms, his ethos, was dreams before money. He was so pure that people wondered if he'd survive in this crazy old world. I did too. Every night before falling asleep, I would wish him, "Please keep Tom Nook's pure spirit protected," I'd whisper in the darkness. "Keep him safe from the apathy that breeds in the alleys of the big city." I don't know why I've told you so much about Tom Nook and I. All those memories of our shared youth must bore you. Please forgive me. The Tom Nook that left for the big city. He sent me letters quite frequently, actually. One day I received a wooden box, not a letter. When I opened it, I was quite astonished. Inside the box, there was a pair of fancy, burnt orange-colored scissors. Incredibly strong and sharp scissors, the finest scissors I'd ever laid eyes on. The enclosed letter said, "Happy birthday, Sable." So sweet. At the time, I was so busy that I'd even forgotten it was my birthday. To think Tom Nook had remembered it. I'm sure life was hard for Tom Nook in the city during that time. I know his job paid poorly, so for him to buy those scissors for me, when I think about it, it makes me so happy that I cry. Well, we shared a lot of good times, Tom Nook and I. Before, there was an observatory in Pallet. We used to climb up to the roof when we wanted to look at the stars. Oh yes. We even made constellations together, I remember. I made one called the Star Shirt. Tom Nook's looked like one of those old-time markets. He called it the Farmer's Market Bargain Bin Constellation. Oh, that takes me back. Shortly after that, Tom Nook moved to the big city. Yes, he left to chase his dreams. When he returned to Pallet, he came back a totally different soul. I still believe that if he just clung to the sweet memories like I do, he would have shaken off the heart sickness of those city years. Memories can be sad, but they can also save you. Beyond her relationship with Tom Nook, many years had passed. In Animal Crossing City Folk, within the city, there is a very upscale fashion shop known as Gracie Grace, run by world-renowned fashion designer Gracie. In this shop, there is an employee named LaBelle. After befriending LaBelle, you will learn that her name is Label and that she just simply adopted a city dialect from having worked under Gracie for so long. She is the lost sister of the Able sisters. And at some point between the events of City Folk and New Leaf, she gave up her life in the city to reunite with her sisters. The three of them now work together to run the tailor shop. Sable is more determined than ever, because she wants to make the LaBelle brand just as big of a name in the world as Gracie. Their starting point is here, in our little town.